I flipped the frame and marked 2 mounting points for the HDPlex PSU. This time around, instead of using threaded inserts, I decided to tap threads directly in the aluminum frame, and so I drilled holes and tapped M3 thread in each. Next, I placed the components onto the frame to figure out where to put mounting point supports. For that purpose, I cut 3 pieces of 50mm flat bar to run from the top to the bottom and attached all 3 using rivets. Then I put the motherboard in place and marked 4 installation points. Drilled holes and tapped them. On the top edge, I drilled mounting points for the 2 80mm fans and 2 more to screw the frame to the wooden frame. For the outer shell, I ordered a 50 by 40cm sheet of 4mm thick acrylic. I used to bend acrylic using a heat gun, but I figured it was high time to start bending, and I built myself a bend. I fired back the Bender 3000 and made 2 90° bends along the longer edge. I slightly overdid one, but I fixed it later with a heat gun. I had to make few openings in the acrylic for air vents and whatnot. Since I'm not very good at cutting straight lines in acrylic, I settled for circles. I printed a template, traced circle centers onto a masking tape, drilled pilot holes with a wood bit, which has a very sharp tip, and used a hole saw to make those 3D circles. I did that for those 2 exhaust fans on the top, and something similar for the air intake right above the CPU cooler. I established where I want to screw the plastic onto the frame and drilled holes for bolts. I actually drilled 1mm into the plastic with a larger bit before going all the way through with a smaller one to make a pocket for the screw head. If that isn't attention to detail, then I don't know what is. I cut aluminum pipe to rise the PCI Express ribbon riser assembly, but it turned out I didn't have screws long enough to elevate the GPU. So I had to make a riser from a square piece of aluminum, which I bolted onto the frame and tapped 2 M3 size holes in it. To make openings for the motherboard and video card I/O ports, I made pilot holes in corners and cut the rest using a jigsaw. I wasn't sure how well cutting acrylic with the jigsaw will work, but I turned the RPMs down to minimum and used a generic blade that came with the jigsaw that I believe is for cutting wood. I had to get a bit creative with bar clamps and wooden supports when cutting those. It would have been much easier if I did those cuts before I bent the acrylic. I also had to make a rectangular cutout for the hole and an opening for the power grid connector. Next, I designed and printed a bracket for the CPU filter. All parts were printed on the ender frame, which handled PETG filament with no problems at all. The dust filter was printed in 2 parts. The main part has a small protrusion, making it easier to grab the frame and pull it out. I attached a piece of tulle to it using fabric glue and fixed the top part, completing the frame. After half an hour or so, I trimmed the fabric. With the CPU dust filter complete, I was ready to glue the bracket in place. The problem was that acrylic wall was bent out of shape due to me overdoing one of the bends. So I took the good old heat gun and treated the edge just enough to bend it back so the main surface was more or less flat. After sorting that out, I mixed some glue and fixed the bracket in place.